и тот, кто вдали с меня, да с той старинной, да семиструнною, что по ночам так мучила меня.
We're going to sing Often Prepachek.
Well, go ahead, I'll help you.
Which is a song about a rabbi teaching
The children.
the children
The olive base.
the alphabet.
The alphabet. Right.
What else? Tell the whole story.
That's
Well,
it.
there's a fire in the house. There's
Oh, you
a
want the
fire.
explanation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
yeah,
Before you
it's
sing it.
interesting.
Yeah. The prepachek is the platform of the oven we bake. So there's a fire underneath in the oven to heat up the whole house. And there's the teacher, the rabbi. A rabbi is a teacher with the children teaching them the alphabet. And that's the song.
And so
Het goes Often prepachek, brennt der Feuerl in den Stiebes Eis. In der Rebbe lernt mit die Kinderlach dem Aleph Beis. In der Rebbe lernt mit die Kinderlach dem Aleph Beis. Zoekje kinderlach, zoekje tijere, kom met Aleph zoekje nachamu en takke nachamu, kom met Aleph There you go. See? Yeah, right.
Our story opens in Europe, in what is today the sovereign country of the Ukraine. But the map then is far different than the one today. The Ukraine then was merely a territorial possession of the far-flung Russian Empire. Within the empire was a landmass known as the Pale of Settlement. Extending from the Baltic Sea in the north to the Black Sea in the south, it was the only area in which the Jewish people were permitted to live. From 1795 to 1918, Jews were forced to reside there, forcibly relocated from the large cities to small provincial towns known as shtetls, far removed from the mainstream of Russian cultural and commercial life. Deep inside the Pale, we find the first record of the Nadelmans, or the Noodlemans as they were known in the Old Country, in the Kherson Gubernia or Oblast, the Russian terms for a province, just north of the Black Sea. The area is home to Mordechai Nadelman, his wife Esther, his daughter Brinna, and his two sons. Missing from the picture are the two sons, Israel and Samuel. Mordechai's name would later be carried by Matthew Posture, his great-grandson. Esther's by Esther White, his great-granddaughter. And Brinna, the daughter's name, by Betty Paris, his granddaughter, whose grandson Michael Paris would later pass her name on to his youngest daughter, Brinna. The original 19th century Brinna bore a striking resemblance to the 20th century Melvin Nadelman, the son of her grandnephew, Louis. This was the world into which your ancestors were born, a world of musicians, beggars, craftsmen, and laborers. a world with a deep reverence for Judaism and religious tradition. Major celebrations included the completion of a Torah scroll and a wedding. Its economy was simple, if not primitive. Market day was its primary feature. Housing and living conditions were substandard by 21st century criteria. Indoor plumbing unheard of. Most towns in the Pale had no form of water distribution, relying instead on individuals bearing buckets. According to the 1898 census, there were more than 5,000 such carriers in the Pale. The tribulations and joys of Jewish life were immortalized in the writings of Yiddish authors, such as the humorist Sholem Aleichem, whose stories of Tevye the Mechiger, Tevye the Milkman, and the fictional shtetl of Anatekva form the basis of the popular musical Fiddler on the Roof.
A fiddler on the roof. Sounds crazy, huh? But here in our little village of Anatevka, you might say every one of us is a fiddler on the roof.
Around 1895, Samuel Nadelman, age 23, son of Mordechai and Esther, marries Anna Shapiro, age 22. They settled down in Voznensk, a small port along the river Bug, featuring a large public square, a cathedral, and some breweries. Jews have lived there since the first half of the 19th century. When later asked where they came from, family members seldom mentioned Voznensk, referring instead to the largest city in the region.
We lived in a small city near Odessa. That's the Odessa Black Sea. And I remember my father used to ride to Odessa with a horse and wagon. It was about 60 miles, I think. It used to take him 2 days and a night to get there.
It is in Voznensk where they raised their family, 5 boys and 5 girls. The girls were Florence, Blume or Flower in 1896, Bertha, Rivka, the connector or the captivating one in 1897, Frida, Fredel, meaning joy in 1898, Betty, Brinna, the brunette or brown-haired one, in 1906, and Ida, Chaya from Chai, life, best known by the endearment Chaike, in 1908. The boys were Chaim from Chai, life, in 1900, Mendel, a pet form of Menahem, the Comforter, in 1902, an unknown son who died as a baby in 1904, whom some remember as Pinchas, the dark-skinned one, followed by William, or Willie, Velvel the Wolf, in 1910. And Louis, Lazer, from Eliezer, meaning God is my helper, and one of the sons of Moses, the baby of the family, in 1912. There were 10 children in all, born over a span of 16 years, one each year from 1896 to 1898, and one every 2 years from 1900 to 1912. Life is good for the Nadelmans during their early years in Voznensk. Samuel and his brother Israel own a lumber yard. businesses prospering, and the family lives in a comfortable home.
But though Frida tells me that before I was born, that my father had a lumberyard, practiced with his brother. And they made it very well. They had a maid and everything. And I said, oh, come on. She says, yeah. See, she's 8 years older than I, and she was a big girl already.
But 1903 sees the resurrection of the pogroms, the systematic killing of Jews, and the destruction of their property. There had been an earlier wave of anti-Semitic violence from 1881 to 1884. It now strikes a second time, sweeping across the southern Ukraine. Egged on by virulently anti-Semitic propaganda, almost every sector of the Christian population joins in. Headlines in the newspaper detail the horror. Synagogues are vandalized and homes destroyed. Thousands of Jews are killed and maimed, including children. Scores are left orphaned. Jewish defense leagues are hastily formed. The violence captures the concern of the international community in the United States and in Europe. The pogroms soon spread to where the Nadelmans live. The lumberyard, the source of their livelihood, becomes a prime target.
So then the Russians set it on fire, just because they're Jews, twice. They decided they'll go to America.
Things tighten up financially. Ida later recounted how Frida told her that when she was born, the family could not even afford a birth certificate. They would have to wait for Willie's birth, listing the two as twins. The pogroms and the harsh condition of life in the shtetl generate a wave of Jewish immigration that continues for decades. Samuel Nadelman also decides it's time to go.
When I was 6 years old, my father left for America. And he took Florence and Bertha, the two oldest ones. They should help him work, and they should be able to bring us over.
Little did they know that it would be 14 years before they would see each other again.
In 1914, they had all the arrangements made for us to come. And my mother, we lived in different cities. She had to come and say goodbye to her father. It was my grandfather. Then the war broke out and we got stuck.
Mendel was recruited into the army. He was never heard from again. Long brewing discontent comes to a head in 1917. In February, the Tsar is overthrown. A provisional democratic government is established. It is short-lived, however. In October of that same year, the Bolsheviks engineer a coup, storm the Winter Palace, and seize power.
during that time, where we lived, my grandfather and my mother's brothers lived in the same. It was a huge yard with a hotel and a horse barn, where they could park their horses. And we lived in the back, and I don't remember. I think it was 3 rooms. He gave us an apartment, if you want to call it that, in the same yard. There were 7 of us. Yeah. And we didn't have any flooring. I don't know why we used to get the cow manure, mix it with lime, and spread it on the floor. We used to have to do it Friday, for Saturday, everything looked nice. He was a beautiful guy, a nice white beard. I remember him, but I hated him. I hated his guts. I didn't know him, and he used to feed us and feed us and feed us. You can't fill an empty sack, okay, a bottomless sack, let's put it that way. And my mother had a sister. Her children grew up with my grandfather, and they were very close. So he'd kiss them and play with them, and we felt left out, That we were jealous, I think, of the other kids, because one was my age, and one was like my sister Ida's age, and 2 were older. And we used to chum around together, first cousins. But I think, children, you're jealous. You see he's hugging them and kissing and playing with him. He never kissed me. I wouldn't go near him. You have a funny feeling. But looking back in Dina, their names I remember. And my sister Frida used to mend socks. She's very clever, and whatever she could do anything. And my mother's sister, my aunt, used to say that her daughter did it to him. And they gave her the hotel. She was running the hotel, and we were in the back.
And I remember that one of the aunts living there, she was very well off. I remember she was running after one of the boys with a glass of milk. And I was thinking, gee, I wish somebody would give me a glass of milk. You wouldn't have to run after me.
So we carried a grudge against him. Then he came down with cancer. My mother would go in, it's her father. He's a well-known man, educated man. Well-known and wealthy. He owned everything. He has, my mother had 5 brothers, and they're all working for the government. They're well-educated, good people, nice people. He was sickly, or he came down with cancer. When he died, I remember I was playing jacks, as though it was yesterday. So I'm sitting and playing jacks with other kids, and somebody said, your grandfather died. I didn't feel any pain at all, nothing. And he was a well-known man. He was nice. He was nice to my mother too, but how much can you...
What's his full name?
Your father is named after him, Labe.
It is an epic struggle, a holy war that brooks no compromise. The 2 armies go at each other with a vengeance.
It was awful. During the war broke out, and we had the bandits for drum. one after the other. Everybody wanted to be in power. Like they had Denikins, they had Kerensky, they had I forgot already. They had so many different. Kerensky already made his own money. It was like a label on the bottles. Millions and millions, you know, like not $1, a ruble, like they used to call it. It was like 1,000,000 rubles, 1,000 rubles, or whatever. But he didn't last long. And they were killing the Jews, that's all. That was their slogan. Save Russia and kill the Jews. I remember once we were walking and they said they're going to kill, somebody said they're going to kill all the Jews. Must have been in 1917. All this took place between 17 and 19 during the revolution.
I remember one time when they were killing and everybody ran away to hide in the cellar and they forgot me and standing there all alone for a few minutes. I can see it. And of course that wasn't very long they come and got me.
That was 11, 12, around there, between 10 and 13, let's put it that way. And my mother was carrying my brother, he was a year old. So the non-Jews, they went about their business. And my mother knew a few, so she knew somebody. She threw my brother on the wagon to save him. Because any Gentile that's wanted to save you, that keep you, you know, feed you and hide you. And we had a neighbor. Her name was Sanya. She was the most nicest person I've ever met. And she hid us in the attic rooms. And we'd look down, you know, we'd see what's going on, killed everybody. Then we looked out, and there was a Hebrew school in the back, like from the attic. And we saw that the rabbi's wife, they cut off the neck. And we saw so many dead people, they just threw them one on top of the other, you know? And we were shivering, you get scared.
We came out to go to Cheder, and the rabbi had a long, long beard. And they killed him, and they took the beard, and they took candles, you know, the tallow, and they glued it to the table. Another thing I remember very, very well is when we lived, there was an attic. And when they were killing the Jews, we were hiding in the attic. And right across, there's a window, and there was a shul there. And with steps, all maybe 8 or 8 steps, I can see it. And they were killing the Jews and throwing them on the steps. And we were watching. I was watching. I can remember that.
In Europe, they have a yard, and there's a house here, and a house there, and a house, you know, like neighbors. One house practically on top of the other. So a boy ran in with a little baby. I don't remember if it was a brother or sister. And Denikins, that's how they called them, Denikins, the gang. They were just shooting at the Jews, and they shot the baby in the stomach. I could still see all the intestines were out, and he told us that they're at their house and they're chasing him. So we started to run. Where the hell are you gonna run? But outside the city, it was the poor section where the poor people lived, and they didn't bother them much. They went to the higher class people first. So we ran out there, and I was chasing with my sister Frida. I don't know why, but I would cling to her. And she jumped over a fence because a guy on a horse was chasing us. They used to rape kids, young girls, any girl they'd find, you know. So I didn't know what the hell's going on, but she was running. I ran after her, you know. think we didn't know where we were going. We just kept on running, but he couldn't jump the fence with the horse, so he lost us. But then we came home, and there's no sign of our family. And then we heard my mother groaning. They were in the basement. And then this woman hit us. But her husband was a drunk. Every time he'd get drunk, he'd tell her that he's gonna squeal on us. Well, they used to kill the non-Jews for hiding the Jews. You know, they took a chance. You really had to be, I don't think I would do it, you know? Really, you can't blame them. Because they were looking for people that was hiding the Jews. But they had a huge fence with locks and everything. No one could ever break in there. I could still remember. I don't know, must have been 7, 8, maybe higher. That was my grandfather's house. But they had a maid, and they thought that the maid let them in. And they came in where my grandfather lived, and his son, my mother's 2 brothers. One died before because they found sword marks on him. That's my uncle. But they figured there was no blood, so he must have died before. They stabbed him after he died. Then they killed another one. Well, he died before, but they killed his brother, my mother's other brother. And his wife was pregnant. And they begged her, she didn't look Jewish. She should say that she's not Jewish. But it's crazy. We all wouldn't deny that we're Jewish. Well, what the heck is, what's the crime, really? They begged her. And she says, no, she's Jewish. So they said, see that they don't know whether she's Jewish or not. They'll shoot 1 bullet. They'll kill her, they kill her. So they, in her arm, and she went in the stable with the horses. She got blood poisoning. They had to amputate. They didn't believe her. Didn't believe her.
I remember that the way we lived, we were we had nothing to eat. I remember my mother taking boiling hot water and putting salt in it, and that was soup. In the summertime, there were some vegetable gardens. The kids, there were a lot of orchards. We sold fruit. We had to eat. You know, it's very hard for you to understand what kind of living that was. It was just existing, not living. Well, I think I must have been 5 or 6 years old, and I was hungry, and I was going out to beg a piece of bread in a bakery. As I walked in, there was nobody there. A bunch of little round breads on the shelves. I had a little big cocoa that somebody gave us. I put it and came home and hung it up. When I came home, Ida and Betty found it, and they almost killed me for stealing. And the bread, I don't know what happened to it. I'm sure somebody ate it. I didn't.
Oh, we ate terrible things. Ooh. Certain things I still like. Cornmeal, my mother would make thick like a cake, you know, and invert it. And I remember she used to cut it with a string, up the piece of thread. And we'd dip it in butter and we'd eat it instead of bread. I'd have the cornmeal. I have it on hand. Every now and then I'll make myself cornmeal mush. See, it sounds funny, but you get used to certain things and you crave for it. I don't know, a lot of things, but the children get so used to it. I see children just stamping their feet, I want it, I want it. We never did that. There were 7 of us. And she used to buy like, whatever she made, a couple of pounds of bread and divide it into portions. And you get so used to it that you don't ask for anything, you know, as little as you are. My brother was a year old, and 2. Never said, Ma, I'm hungry. Or Ma, I want something, We'd stand and see the ice cream man. They used to sell it like a scoop from a cherry, the cherry that you pick the cherries, the teeny little scoop for a penny. We'd stand there and look at it. We never said we wanted ice cream. See, that's why I don't care for ice cream. I'll have some occasionally, but I'm not seeing you. You're not used to it. I used to run after her to help her. I was a child. That's why I say I never had a childhood. She used to wash everybody's laundry. Or in the hottest days, like in July, August, they used to make jams, and that's thick. She used to sit and stir it. You have to stir it, it shouldn't burn. It's in the hottest days, during the season when the fruit was out. Or she'd go do laundry. I'd help her carry the water because there was no water indoors like here, So I used to take we used to call it carabas. You see it on television yet, the thing they have in the foreign countries, a wooden thing, and there's like a scale, a pail on each end. So I used to have that, and then have 2 pails in your hands. Well, you need a lot of water to wash clothes. And I used to run after her every place she'd go to help her. Some days she worked in a bakery. She used to have to knead by hand, And I could imagine kneading by hand in a bakery. Never mind, you make a couple of... and poor Frida, she had to take over my mother's job. Like me and Ida and Willie and Louie, the 4 of us. Louie was a year, Willie was 3, Ida was 5, I was 7 at that time. So she had to clean us. She even sewed for us. Your father has the picture with the striped dresses we wore, and she made us the dresses at the age of 14. I remember I was about 16. I was dying to put my hair up, in the plug or something. And my hair was long, and she'd look at me, and I didn't have the nerve. So I was wearing braids until I came here, and I had them cut off.
My Yiddish mom, I need her more than ever now.
My mother used to cry a lot. She had a hard life. I could imagine the heartache a mother has not to have any food to feed children. And she was the only one who worked. And you name it, she did it. And she worked harder. What did she make? Nothing.
My mother never had a good day in her life. I keep thinking it's a terrible thing to have a life like she did. It's terrible the way she lived and died. She was like nothing. She was so downtrodden with everything she had no time to think of herself or anything. the way I look at it, it was a wasted life. I feel so bad about it, you have no idea.
How few were her pleasures. She never cared for fashion styles. Her jewels and treasures.
You know, you have to have a little enjoyment in your life, no matter what you do. She didn't have any. She didn't have anything when she was young. She didn't have anything when she was older. But she never thought of herself as always the kids this and the kids that, and the kids had to be, if she had a piece of bread, it was the kids first. She was a wonderful woman. She never had any for herself.
To that wonderful Yiddish Mama,
More than 100,000 men, women, and children are killed, tens of thousands wounded. Over 500,000 are left homeless, refugees in their own country.
But when the communists came in, they were looking for young people to bring them, to bring them in as communists. So for us, for the kids, it was the best thing that ever happened. We had rights to go to school. They formed clubs and everything. We found it much better than it was before. I went to school for a very short time. I was leader of the 12-year-olds. It's called the Pioneers. I think up to 18 was the Pioneers, and over 18 was the Komsomol, they called it. It was something like the Boy Scouts, only they were preaching communism all the time. By the time we were ready to leave, they asked me to stay, not to leave. They wanted the kids. That was their main thing, is to get the kids to turn communist.
We didn't hear from them from 1917 through 21, I think, I'm not sure. Then they start sending us packages. They send us flour, sugar, what else? Rice, I think, I forgot already. They used to allow you to send so many, certain poundage, I don't remember. So my mother baked 25 pounds of flour. When you bake 25 pounds, you have about maybe 50 pounds of bread, I don't know, 35. And my mother said, children, eat as much as you want.
Ayukai. Not very old. You see, at that age, you already had a girlfriend. His birthday was never home. And I was small when he came home, I was sleeping. I remember I can picture him.
Dein Mannes Herz, mein Kinderkrieg.
He was the fourth child, a boy. A boy, a Yiddish boy, a Kaddish. That was something. And he was a rich baby. And she had a lot of trouble with him. Then she had 4 boys after that. I remember when we were leaving for America, and that brother fell in love, he didn't want to go. He figured he'll wait for a visa so he could go with her. And I remember how my mother carried on, she was fainting and he was crying. What a commotion. I could still see it. I didn't understand it at that time. In 1946, 1945, 46, we got a letter from his wife. We never told our mother. The Nazis came in the house, they took him out, they shot him. She doesn't know why. In the house, they took him 46. I don't know if it was 46 or 45. It was quite already. But my mother never knew that he got killed.
Die Mame wird ein Briefele lesen und sie wird genesen, als die Schmerz ihr bietet hat, der Kriegstier diene schon.
I remember going by horse and wagon to Odessa. Then I remember going by train to Moscow, and then to Amsterdam. Then we boarded a ship in Amsterdam, and that's it.
We left in 1925.
What was the trip like, and who did you go
Oh,
with?
it was awful. We left in August, all right? We didn't come here until October. We stopped in everybody's backyard. And naturally, we were third class, you know, down the basement in the gutter. Well, they couldn't afford it. I mean, you know, they were both married, Florence and Bertha. My father didn't make too much money, and they had to take over 5 people, you know. I remember we were all sick, but we never had enough food to eat. So my brother, Louis, was, about 12, I think. So he came into the cabin. Come on, they got good food. They got this and they got that. But we were all sick. We couldn't budge. He's the only one who was eating. We were talking about it when I was in Springfield. He says, remember the trip? I said, how do I remember?
Every place we stopped, I went exploring. In fact, in Holland, I went for Willie and I went for a little gun run. We almost missed the boat. But I was a kind of a kid that always tried everything. Like on a ship, we were supposed to come in third class steerage, which is where you. But I didn't. I ran up to the first class all the time, but they threw me out. But I kept coming back again. On the ship, we were treated like people. Up till then, we were nobody. We had things. See, we never saw an orange till we came to Amsterdam. With some things we never even heard of.
You slept for 3 months, you know, and you stop all over. It's not that you're going for a pleasure trip. We landed in New York in Ellis Island. Oh, he's the Statue of Liberty. With a headache, and they just stopped me. They were going to keep me, either to deport me or yeah. So my sister said hospital. So in Russian you read it hospital. Hospital, that's in Russian. So my sister Ida goes over, she says that I passed the hospital, whatever we thought, we didn't know what it was. And they said, no, you go. So they kept me overnight.
What were your first impressions of America? Do you remember?
Yes, we saw clothes way high. How in the world do they have the clothes up there? You know? It was so funny, like on the 3rd or 8th or 10th floor in New York, you know. We couldn't figure out because...
Clotheslines, right?
Yeah, clotheslines, the pulleys, you know.
Mensch Amerika, Land, wo sich lieb, steh ich bei ihr, Madrich sei ihr, überall echt das Strahlen zu lieb, von die Berge zu die Prairies, bis die Armen weiß mit Scheu.
I remember the bus stopping on a corner. The house was maybe 2 or 3 houses away from the corner. And it was on the second floor, and we walked up and we saw the bathroom, and it was like a miracle. We never saw anything like that before. There was no comparison. There was just a place to sleep in with no any kind of facilities, no electricity, no running water, no toilets, and there everything was there in front of you. It wasn't heaven, you know. It was a big change. And it was a moderate house, you know, but to us it was a big thing.
Leave your worries on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Don't you hear the pitter-pat and that happy...
remember much about him?
My father, as a child, I don't. As a matter of fact, when we came here, if they'd say someone else, my father, I would accept him because I didn't know anything about him.
My father was a small man, very easy. We grew up without him, and it was very hard after so many years. It'd be like a regular child would be to his family. We were kind of strange, but it was fine. We had good relations with him. I thought he was a very smart man, but he had no ways to show his smartness. He once translated a whole English book into Jewish.
And my father was a peddler, a junk peddler, which he made a nice living. And you have his whistle, Mike.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he used to blow the whistle on the streets, and people would go out to sell their junk to him.
He rented a barn just on Medicine Avenue. You would know it, just let's say a couple blocks away. Go out every day and just ride up and down, hollering rags. And he picked up rags, and then he graduated. He was selling fruit. He worked till almost 60. And that time it was an old age. It's not nice work. Let's put it that way.
My father had a Jewish horse, and they was married.
How do you know she was Jewish?
He talked to her Jewish. So he trained Mary, stay Mary. So Mary stood. Well, you could teach, what's the difference? You could teach this Russian woman, she came about 6-7 years ago, when I was there. Now it's already longer. She has a cat. She calls her Koshka, that's in the Russian. And she talks to her Russian. Well, it doesn't make any difference. It's the way you train them. I was 19 when we came. And of course we couldn't go to school or anything, whatever as little as we know, and we were on our own. I needed a job badly. I didn't know how to speak, I didn't know where to go. So my father, God bless him, he wrote down the names of the streets to know where he's going. And he told us where to go and how to ask for a job please. That was the English. We were lucky we knew that. We didn't know how to ride a bus, so we didn't have any car for my sister to ride on. So my father says, you go this way and that way. He directed us which way to go. And you'll ask Stratford Avenue, please. That was the name of the street that we needed where the factory was. So I went in and I said, job please. And to my luck, they were Jewish, the foreman and the owner. And he says, yeah, we could use somebody. Do you have any experience? I never saw a machine in my life. I didn't even know we didn't own a sewing machine. I said, yeah. And I asked somebody to show me how to thread it, and I was on my own. He gave me $13 a week. Then I asked for a job for my sister, and they gave her a job too. And we got a job, $7 a week each. We had to contribute towards our room and board because my father was sickly already. And I talked it over with my sister. We didn't make enough. We had to get a better job. But the forelady had it in for my sister. She's lefty. So every time she'd cut something, she'd appear in the back of her. She made her nervous. So she got a job at Raincoats. And she made $20 a week. At that time, we knew how to speak a little bit of English already. But my sister Ida, she ran from job to job. Then she went on upholstery. She's working. She made a lot of money that time. But the raincoats were slickers. They were too heavy to handle. I didn't like that. We were working on nurses' uniforms. That was nice. So there was a special machine with 2 needles, and I was dying to work on that machine. They couldn't train a girl to work on that machine. So I talked to the boss and I asked him if he'll raise my salary, my pay, I'll work on that machine. And I worked myself up, like every week, $1 a week. A raise until $20. And I complained to him, this woman, she's been working for 20 years, she's making $20. That time was a lot of money, 25, 26, it was a lot of money. So he says, Rosie's working 20 years already. Out of blue sky, her name appeared. He didn't say Rosie. I said, well, I put out as much work as she does. I mean, what difference does it make how long you're on the job? He gave me the same pay as Rosie. She said, and I saved together what we could to send for my sister Frida. You're both married. And when she came back, I got her a job. I was sewing the sides, and she had to ham them. So I made the bummest job there is. I stretched it. I didn't sew it right. So one side come out longer, which is terrible. It wouldn't hang right. So I told her, cut it away. She had to ham it, you know. I couldn't do it. I didn't know how. Now, I mean, I could tell what I did, but at that time I didn't know from a machine. I didn't know, and it was a complicated machine to thread. So I got her a job for $13, and we worked together. Like she did, you do certain things, you know, what puts in the sleeve, the other one sews the sides. So I had to sew the whole, from the sleeve all the way down. And I stretched one side. Instead of giving it in, I stretched it. So I come out about that much longer. But it wouldn't hang right. But when it's cut away, she had a harder job because it wasn't even.
Look for the union label when you are buying a coat, dress, or blouse. Remember somewhere our union sewing, our wages going to feed the kids and run the house. We work hard, but who's complaining? Thanks to the ILG, we're paying our way. So always look for the union label. It says we're able to make it in the USA.
It was a good job. I was independent.
I'm wearing second-hand shoes.
But we had problems. We didn't have any clothes. We didn't have any friends. And then when we got here, I was very unhappy. You don't know the language. You can't go to school because you have to work. So we started going to night school, but I didn't teach you how to read or write, or speak or whatever. They say, stand up, close the door, shut the window, whatever.
Очи черные, очи жгучие, очи страстные и прекрасные. Как люблю я вас, как боюсь я вас, иначе видел вас я в недобрый час, будь тот проклят час, когда встретил вас. Очи черные, непокорные, не видал бы вас, не страдал бы так, всю жизнь прожил бы припеваючи.
My sister Ida and I used to get books, dictionaries, translation, you know. And we tried to do as much as we could by ourselves. Some people are stupid that they can't learn, and some people haven't got the abilities to learn. Some people would learn, but the circumstances stop. So I'm not the one that is stupid. I could have learned. See, I'm a self-made man. Whatever I do.
I think you're a woman.
You think so?
I don't believe in fretting and grieving. Why mess around with strife? I never was cut out to step and strut out. Give me the simple life.
And when I came here, whatever I know, I had to learn myself. I went to school for a year and a half. And then I went to work. What I remember, we came to Bridgeport on a Thursday. On a Monday, they got me a job delivering Jewish papers. The second day, I got lost, and I got fired. Because I didn't get to the place. They sent me from one place to the other. Then I got a $50 more delivering milk. I get up at 3:30 in the morning delivering milk. By that time, I was 16 years old. I went to work in a store. I counted when I told you I gave sleep taking. I counted I had 15 jobs in my life. Like I never had a childhood. I don't tell anybody. I only went to school a year and a half. But then I read hundreds of books. And right now, none of my friends knows that I wasn't educated at all. But during the Depression, you couldn't get a job. So I sat in the library from 9 o'clock till 8, day after day. And whatever I know, and I learned it about myself.
Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Cornell, Virginia, Dartmouth.
I don't tell anybody. Because I don't want to, right now they're equal. There's one of the guys that graduated Yale. And we have more arguments. If he ever found out that I never went to school, there'd be murder. The only one that know it, Mike and Crenshaw, Eric and Evan. Mm-hmm. And they say they're very proud. I should tell. Everybody thinks the world of me. And I wanted to stay that way. I don't want to spoil it. I opened up a store. I bought it for $1,100, and I borrowed $500 from my brother-in-law, and I owed the rest. I started a fruit basket business, and I got to be the biggest one in New England. I'm proud of that. I made it. With nothing, I made a wonderful life. I brought up nice family. I took out of the store nothing, and I made a very big paying business out of it. Everything that I did, I worked very hard, but I accomplished at that time anything that I wanted. But I got as much out of life as 90% of the people that have all the advantages in the world. I didn't have any.
Although it's the root of all evil, of strife and upheaval, but I'm certain, honey, that life could be sunny with plenty of money and you.
I heard of once in a lullaby.
The bells are ringing for me and my gal. The birds are singing for me and my gal. Everybody's been knowing to our wedding they're going, and for weeks they've been sewing. Every Susie and Sal, they're congregating for me and my girl. The parson's waiting for me and my gal. And someday we're going to build a little home for two, for three or four or more, in Loveland for me and my gal.
when my sister Bertha's husband was a tailor, and I came for vacation. We lived in Connecticut, and Zeta lived in Massachusetts. I came for vacation to Massachusetts to visit Bertha and Florence, and Zeta came in. He used to take the fur jobs from Harry, that's Bertha's husband, to do the fur jobs for him. So I came for vacation here, and there I see this guy, clothes shaved, and oh, he looked so nice. And he says, "Well, what are you doing tonight?" I said, "Oh, gee."
Ma, he's making eyes at me. Ma, he's awful nice to me. Ma, he's almost breaking my heart. I'm beside him. Mercy, let his conscience guide him, Ma.
He asked me out. No car, nothing. We had to go by trolley. Who could afford dinner? Are you kidding? No, we went for a ride on the trolley, for a long ride. And the next time I came, he already waited for me. We checked the suitcase, we got to a movie or whatever. We couldn't do, no car. Oh, he wanted to get married before then, but I didn't have the nerve. Frida wasn't married. In Europe in those days, the older one had to get married first. I didn't have the nerve. He gave me a watch. He was going to get me a diamond, a payment. And me, I'm not crazy about diamonds. I don't want no payments. So I told him I don't want a ring. And so he got me a watch, and we're sitting on the porch. And my heart was beating. How am I going to tell Frida? Now, how do you go and tell a person like that? She's 8 years older. I didn't have the nerve. Well, we got married in December 25th, 1930.
In your eyes, dear, as I held you close in my arms, angels were singing a hymn to your charms, two hearts gently beating, murmuring low, darling, I love you so.
I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You said you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times like these, and now I need you. Now I need you. And you are gone. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's been so little beauty, but I know I saw it clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have few things that will console. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember all the things that I was told. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I think on the things that make me feel so wonderful when I was young. I think on the things that made me laugh, made me dance, made me sing. I think on the things that make me grow into a being full of pride. I think on these things, for they are true. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I thought that you were gone, but now I know you're with me. You are the voice that whispers all I need to hear. I know a please, a thank you, and a smile will take me far. I know that I am you and you are me and we are one. I know that who I am is numbered in each grain of sand. I know that I've been blessed again and over again. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes.
brennt a fire und in Stub is heiß und rebellant kleine Kinderlach dem Alif Beis und Land, kleine Kinderlach, dem Alif Beisetsche Kinderlach, gedenkje Teire, wo Land, Sogje noch amul und Tacke noch amul, komm mit Alif, Sogje noch amul und Tacke noch amul, komm mit Alif, Lernt Kinder mit Groß Cheshek, azoi sog ich eichon, Wers wird gicher von euch kennen Ivre, der bekommt davon. Wers wird gicher von euch kennen Ivre, der bekommt davon. Setsche Kinderlach gedenkje Teire, was lernt Sogje noch amol und Tacke noch amol, komm mit Salifo. Sogje noch amol und Tacke noch amol, komm mit Salifo. Als ihr wird Kinder älter werden, wird ihr allein verstehen, wie viel in die Oasis liegen Tränen und wie viel Gewein. Wie viel in die Oasis liegen Tränen und wie viel Gewein. Als ihr wird Kinder den Golle schläden, Ois gemutschet sein, sollt ihr von die Oasis Koyach schäppen, guckt in sie herein. Sollt ihr von die Oasis Koyach schäppen, guckt in sie herein. Setsche Kinderlach gedenkje Teire, was Land, Sogje noch amol und Tacke noch amol, komm mit Alifo. Sogje noch amol und Tacke noch amol, komm mit Alifo. Leise, Schmuli, Chaichi, sehr